Hi, I'm Christina, and today I'm talking about my most anticipated book releases of 2024. So let's start with books where I've read from the author before and I have absolutely loved one of their books. And let's start with my most anticipated book of 2024, and that is The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. So the expected publication date for this book is the 29th of August 2024, and this will be my fourth book by this author. I have read and absolutely loved The Midnight Library and How to Stop Time, and I have also read The Humans and enjoyed it. So I do have notes on all of these books, so I will be looking down at my notes. So this book is about a woman called Grace. She is a widow and she's a retired math teacher, and her life seems to be getting smaller and smaller. She keeps out of the way of people and passes time watching the birds in her garden and doing crossword puzzles. But when a long-lost friend dies in strange circumstances, she leaves her house on the Spanish island of Ibiza and her life drastically changes. So that one sounds absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love Matt Haig as an author. I really connect with his books. I always find them so deep and emotional, and I always feel so connected to the characters, and they always hit me really, really hard, and they normally make me cry. So very much looking forward to that one, and that is my most anticipated book of the whole year. So my second most highly anticipated book of the year is There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. So this one has an expected publication date of the 8th of August 2024, and this will be my third book by this author. I have read and absolutely loved The Island of Missing Trees. That was one of the best books in the year in which I read it, and I've also read and enjoyed 10 minutes 38 seconds in This Strange World. So this book is a rich and sweeping novel. It's set between the 19th century and modern times. It's about love and loss, memory and erasure, hurt and healing, and it's centred around three characters living on the banks of the River Thames and the River Tigris. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Yes, the Matt Haig book and the Elif Shafak book are my two most anticipated books of the whole of 2024, and I'm very much looking forward to reading them. So the next book I'm really looking forward to reading is Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. This one has an expected publication date of the 23rd of April 2024, and this will be my sixth book by this author. I have read and absolutely loved The Good Sister and The Mother-in-Law, and I've also read and enjoyed The Family Next Door and The Younger Wife, and I've read The Soulmate, but I found it a little bit disappointing. Overall, she's one of my favourite thriller authors now. The Good Sister is such a brilliant book, and I also really, really enjoyed The Mother-in-Law. So this one is about three women. We have Alicia, Jessica and Nora. They might seem like ordinary women when you meet them on the street any day of the week. Sure, Jessica has a little OCD, and Nora has some anger issues, and Alicia has low self-esteem that manifests itself in surprising ways. But these three have a bond that no one can fully understand. It's a bond that takes them back decades to when they were girls, and they lived on a farm with a foster mother named Miss Fairchild. Miss Fairchild had rules. Miss Fairchild could be unpredictable, and Miss Fairchild was never ever to be crossed. In a moment of desperation, the three broke away from Miss Fairchild and they thought they were free. But the reach of someone with such power is long, and even though they never saw her again, she was always somewhere in the shadows of their minds. When bones are discovered buried under the farmhouse of their childhood home, they are called in by the police to tell them what they know. Against their will, they are brought back to the past and to Miss Fairchild herself. So yeah, that one sounds really good. Really interested in reading another Sally Hepworth book. Like I say, I think she's a brilliant author, and the majority of the books I've read by her have been hits and I really enjoyed them, and there's only been the one so far that I found a little bit disappointing, so very much looking forward to that one. So the next book I'm really looking forward to reading is The Examiner by Janice Hallett. So this one has an expected publication date of the 5th of September 2024, and this will be my fourth book by the author. So I have read and absolutely loved The Appeal and The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels, and I have read but found it a little bit disappointing, The Twyford Code. So this one is about 6 students and 1 murder. Your time starts now. The students of Royal Hastings University's new multimedia art course have been trouble from day one. Acclaimed artist Alison wants the department to revolve around her. Another one struggles to balance her family and the workload. Another one has management experience but zero talent for art. Another one can barely operate his mobile phone, let alone professional design software. Meanwhile, the last person tries to juggle the course with his job in the city and does neither very well. And then there's another person who is a gifted young sculptor. She's a promising student, but cross her at your peril. The year-long course is blighted by accusations of theft, students setting fire to one another's artwork, a rumoured extramarital affair, and a disastrous road trip. But finally they are given their last assignment to build an interactive art installation for a local manufacturer, with 6 students who have nothing in common except their clashing personal agendas. What could possibly go wrong? The answer is murder. When the external examiner arrives to assess the students' essays and coursework, he becomes convinced that a student was killed on the course and the others covered it up. But is he right? And if so, who is dead? Why were they killed, and who is the murderer? Only a close examination of the evidence will reveal the truth. Your time starts now. So I think that one sounds so good. I love the way she uses the mixed media format in her books. I find them so interesting. It's like a little puzzle. It's like a game inside a book, and I absolutely love them. So yeah, that one sounds really good, and I'm very much looking forward to reading that one. So the next book that I'm really looking forward to is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. So this one has an expected publication date of the 16th of January 2024. Now this will be my 3rd book by this author, and it's been a little bit hit and miss so far. I absolutely loved The Silent Patient. I think that twist is one of the best twists in a thriller book that I have ever read personally. I did not figure it out and it absolutely shocked me. But then I found The Maidens a little bit disappointing. So we'll see what this one is like. I'm hoping that it has the magic of The Silent Patient for me. So this one is a tale of murder, or maybe that's not quite true. At its heart, it's a love story, isn't it? Lana is a reclusive ex-movie star and one of the most famous women in the world. Every year she invites her closest friends to escape the English weather and spend Easter on her idyllic private Greek island. I tell you this because you may think you know this story. You probably read about it at the time. It caused a real stir in the tabloids, if you remember. It had all the necessary ingredients for a press, a celebrity, a private island cut off by the wind, and a murder. We found ourselves trapped there overnight. Our old friendships concealed hatred and a desire for revenge. What followed was a game of cat and mouse, a battle of wits, full of twists and turns, building to an unforgettable climax. The night ended in violence and death, as one of us was found murdered. But who am I? My name is Elliot Chase, and I'm going to tell you a story unlike any you've ever heard. That one sounds so good. I'm really looking forward to that one. And I'm hoping it feels more like The Silent Patient than The Maidens, but very much looking forward to giving it a go. Now, the next one that I'm really looking forward to reading is The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. So this one has an expected publication date of the 9th of April 2024, and this will be my 5th book by this author. So I have read and really enjoyed The Burning Girls and The Chalk Man. I've also read and enjoyed The Taking of Annie Fawn, which is known as The Hiding Place in the US, and I read The Drift, but I found it a bit disappointing. So this one is set in a small Alaskan town. We have a missing boy, a brutal murder, a detective brought in from one out of state to assist the former sheriff who investigated a similar murder 25 years ago. But are they hunting a twisted psychopath or something even more terrifying? So looking forward to giving this one a go. The last C.J. Tudor I read, I didn't really like it very much, but I have really enjoyed a lot of her other books. She does really good horror/thrillers. So yeah, looking forward to giving that one a go. And now the final book that I'm really looking forward to is Gail Honeyman's next book. So I don't really have much information on it. It's just called Untitled Book 2 at the moment. And apparently the expected publication date is the 12th of September 2024. and I couldn't find any actual real information about this book, but it is the author who wrote Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I love that book. That is one of my favourite books of all time. It made me feel, I was so emotionally invested in that book. I was really connected to the characters. I loved the story. I just had such a wonderful time with it. Genuinely one of my favourite books of all time. So I will read anything that she writes next. And I know so little about this book, and yet I'm very much looking forward to reading it if it does in fact come to exist next year. So now moving on to the next section of books. So that first section was books where I have read from the author before and absolutely loved one of their books. And this section is where I have read from the author before and I have enjoyed one of their books. So the first of them is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. So this one has an expected publication date of the 28th of May 2024, and this will be my fourth book by this author. I have read and enjoyed The Turn of the Key and The It Girl, and I also liked The Lying Game. So this one is similar to Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. It's a high tension thriller, and it's following 5 couples trapped on a storm-swept island as a killer stalks amongst them. So this one is a woman whose postdoctoral research has fizzled out. She's pretty sure they won't extend her contract, and things with her boyfriend, an aspiring actor, aren't going great. When the opportunity arises for Nico to join the cast of a new reality TV show, The Perfect Couple, she decides to try out with him. A whirlwind audition process later, and they find themselves whisked off to a tropical island, boating through the Indian Ocean towards Ever After Island, where the two of them will compete against 4 other couples in order to win a cash prize. So that one sounds really, really interesting. And like I say, I've enjoyed some books by Ruth Ware before, so looking forward to giving this new one a go. So the next one I have is The Stranger in Her House by John Marrs. This one has an expected publication date of the 13th of February 2024, and this will be my 3rd book by this author. I read and enjoyed What Lies Between Us, and then I read The Marriage Act, but I found that one a bit disappointing. So this one, a stranger has infiltrated your family and now he's taking over. Paul's just here to help, or so he claims, sent by a charity for vulnerable people to do odd jobs for elderly widow Gwen. But for Gwen's daughter Connie, there's just something about Paul that rings alarm bells from day one. He's a little too kind, a little too involved. Worse still, Gwen seems to have fallen under his spell. The last thing Connie wants is a stranger meddling in the safe routine she's built around Gwen. She loves being the one Gwen turns to for cooking, cleaning and company, but the more Paul visits, the more Gwen is relying on him. By the time he conveniently finds himself between homes and has no other choice but to move in, Connie is certain he's trying to push her out completely. It's her word against his though, and as her attempts to unmask him become ever more desperate, she's not the only one left wondering if she's lost her grip on reality. But when events start spiralling rapidly out of control, should Connie wage all-out war on Paul or risk losing Gwen forever? Or has that been his plan all along? So that one sounds interesting. And I think with John Marrs, I did really enjoy What Lies Between Us and then was disappointed by The Marriage Act. So this is another kind of one that sounds more similar to What Lies Between Us in the sense it's more of a kind of thriller horror. So the next book I have is another one by John Marrs, and this is The Family Experiment, and the expected publication date is the 18th of June 2024. Now this is the next book in the same world from the one I found a little bit disappointing. So it started with the one, and then the one I read is The Marriage Act. So I'm on the fence whether I'm going to give this one a go, to be honest, but I might, so I still wanted to include it. But yeah, I am wondering whether I should go back and actually read the first book in the series in that world, The One, and then see what I think. But we'll see, because like I say, I found The Marriage Act a little bit disappointing, so I may or may not continue with this one, but still wanted to include it because I might do. And of course, you might be interested in reading it. So the next book I have is Interesting Facts About Space by Emily R. Austin. So this one has an expected publication date of the 30th of January 2024, and I read her other book, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, and I enjoyed it and I love the title. It really, really drew me in. So this one is about a woman who is obsessed with space. She can tell you all about black holes and their ability to spaghettify you without batting an eye in fear. Her one major phobia, bald men. But she tries to keep that one under wraps. When she's not listening to her favourite true crime podcast on a loop, she's serially dating a rotation of women from dating apps. At the same time, she's trying to forge a new relationship with her estranged half-sisters after the death of her absent father. When she unwittingly plunges into her first serious romantic entanglement, she starts to believe that someone is following her. As her paranoia spirals out of control, she must contend with her mounting suspicion that something is seriously wrong with her, because at the end of the day, there's only one person she can't outrun: herself. Brimming with quirky humour, charm and heart, and it's about the power of revealing our secret shames, the most beautifully human part of us all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this one a go. I have to say that Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead was a book unlike any other book I've read, and I had a good time with it. She was a very interesting, quirky main character, so looking forward to giving that one a go too. So now I'm moving on to the final section, and these are books where I haven't read from the author before, but I do want to read one or more of their books, or I already have one of their books on my physical TBR. So the first I have is The Women by Kristin Hannah. This one has an expected publication date of the 6th of February 2024. And there are so many books that I would like to read by Kristin Hannah, and I do have one on my physical TBR, and that is The Four Winds. So this one is a story of a turbulent, transformative era in America, the 1960s. The Women is that rarest of novels, at once an intimate portrait of a woman coming of age in a dangerous time, and an epic tale of a nation divided by war and broken by politics, of a generation both fueled by dreams and lost on the battlefield. Women can be heroes too. So it's about a 20-year-old nursing student. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. I still haven't decided which book I'm going to read first, whether I should read something like The Four Winds or whether I should go straight in and read one of her brand new books. We'll see. If you had read a few books by Kristin Hannah, let me know which one you think is the best, which one you think I should start with. I'd be really grateful to hear where you think I should start. So the next book I have in this section is The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. This one has an expected publication date of the 21st of May 2024, and I am interested in reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I think is also known as The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So this one sounds right up my street. So, solve the murder to save what's left of the world. Outside the island, there is the world destroyed by a fog that sweeps the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm and feast, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told to do by the scientists, until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death. And they learn the murder has triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. If the murder isn't solved within 92 hours, the fog will smother the island and everyone on it. But the security system has also wiped everyone's memories of exactly what happened the night before, which means that someone on the island is a murderer and they don't even know it. I think that one sounds so good. It kind of sounds like it's a murder mystery. It's kind of post-apocalyptic fiction, science fiction, dystopian fiction. It's absolutely right up my street, and I'm actually really looking forward to reading that one. And I think I will be reading that one as the first book that I read by him, because it just sounds right up my street. It sounds like the perfect book for me. So the next book I have is James by Percival Everett. This one has an expected publication date of the 19th of March 2024, and I have one of his books already, which is The Trees. I bought it recently and I'm really looking forward to reading that one. And this one is a brilliant, action-packed reimagining of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, both harrowing and ferociously funny, told from the enslaved Jim's point of view. Now, I haven't actually read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, but very looking forward to giving this one a go. But I do think I should read The Trees first by him, because I was very much looking forward to giving that one a ago. But yes, this one sounds interesting too, and is definitely on my radar. So the next book I have is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This one has an expected publication date of the 4th of June 2024, and I am also interested in reading The Unseen World by her. So this is a novel about a missing child whose disappearance sends equal shockwaves through 3 very different worlds: an opulent summer estate, the rustic teen summer camp that operates in its shadows, and the blue-collar community that serves them both. When Barbara is discovered missing from her summer camp bunk one morning in August 1975, it triggers a panicked, terrified search. Losing a camper is a horrific tragedy under any circumstances, but Barbara isn't just any camper. She's the daughter of the wealthy family that owns the camp, as well as the opulent nearby estate and most of the land in sight. And this isn't the first time one of their children has disappeared, as Barbara's older brother also went missing 16 years ago, never to be found. How could this have happened yet again? So I think this one sounds really, really interesting, kind of a mystery novel, and yeah, I like the sound of that one. And like I say, I am interested in reading some other books by this author too. So the next book I'm looking forward to is 14 Days, an Unauthorized Gathering, and the general editor for this one is Margaret Atwood, and a few different authors have contributed to this one of which is Celeste Ng, and I absolutely love Little Fires Everywhere and Everything I Never Told You. She's one of my favourite authors. So this one sounds really good, and it has an expected publication date of the 6th of February 2024, and I'm also interested in reading The Handmaid's Tale. So this one is set in the Lower East Side in the early days of the COVID-19 lockdown. It's a surprising and irresistibly propulsive novel with an unusual twist. Each character in this diverse, eccentric cast of New York neighbours has been secretly written by a different major literary voice, from Margaret Atwood and Douglas Preston to Tommy Orange and Celeste Ng. So 1 week into the COVID-19 shutdown, tenants of a Lower East Side apartment building in Manhattan have begun to gather on the rooftop to tell stories. So yeah, this sounds really, really good. And there's so many different authors who have contributed to this one. It sounds brilliant, and yeah, there's a couple of authors here that I really enjoy, so looking forward to giving that one a go. Just a couple more books to go now. One of the other ones I'm interested in reading is Murder Road by Simone St. James. This one has an expected publication date of the 5th of March 2024, and I'm interested in reading a few books by her: The Broken Girls, The Book of Cold Cases, and The Sundown Motel. Now, this one is about a young couple who find themselves haunted by a string of gruesome murders committed along an old deserted road. So it is July 1995. April and Eddie have taken a wrong turn. They're looking for the small resort town where they're planned to spend their honeymoon, but when they spot what appears to be a lone hitchhiker along the deserted road, they stop to help. But not long after the hitchhiker gets into the car, they see the blood seeping from her jacket and a truck barreling down the lane after them. So, when the hitchhiker dies at the local hospital, April and Eddie find themselves in the crosshairs of the Cold Lake Falls police. Unexplained murders have been happening along Atticus Line for years, and the cops finally have 2 witnesses who easily became their only suspects. As April and Eddie start to dig into the history of the town and that horrible stretch of road to clear their names, they soon learn that there is something supernatural at work, something that could not only tear the town and its dark secrets apart, but could take Eddie and April down too. So I think that one sounds really interesting. Like I say, there's been a few books by her that I've been interested in reading. She kind of writes thriller, horror, with a little bit of a supernatural twist. So looking forward to giving that one a go. So the final book that I have to talk about is Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This one has an expected publication date of the 28th of March 2024, and I'm interested in reading the Children of Time series by him. So this one is set on the planet of Kiln, and it's where the tyrannical mandate keeps its prison colony, and for inmates the journey there is always a one-way trip. On one such prisoner is Professor Arton. He's an ecologist and political dissident. Soon after he arrives, he discovers that Kiln has a secret. Humanity is not the first intelligent life to set foot there, which sounds brilliant. So in the midst of a ravenous, chaotic ecosystem are the ruins of a civilization, but who were the vanished builders and where did they go? If he can survive both the harsh rule of the camp commandment and the alien horrors of the world around him, then Anton has a chance at making a discovery that might just transform not only Kiln but distant Earth as well. I think that one sounds brilliant. I definitely want to read some more science fiction this year, and I really would like to read kind of first contact with aliens, set in space, that kind of science fiction. I didn't read much of that type of science fiction in 2023, so I'd really like to read more of that this year. So yeah, that one sounds really good too. And if you have read the Children of Time series, I'd love to know what you thought of it. So that's it. Those are all the books I'm looking forward to reading in 2024. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like the video if you've liked it, and please do subscribe if you'd like to hear more of me talking about books. Now, if you have read any other books by any of the authors mentioned, I would love to know what you thought of them down in the comments below. And if there's any here that you're also highly anticipating, let me know that too. And if there's any books that you're really looking forward to in 2024 that I haven't mentioned, definitely let me know, because I would love to hear what you're really looking forward to reading. See you in my next one.